one day I'll remember. Remember everything that happened. The good, the bad.
It's very difficult to talk about it without spoiling it. I mean, if you've not read the book, then all I'll say is that, you know, his journey goes on a huge, emotionally charged journey. His kids are at the forefront of his fight. He becomes a man that I don't think even he realizes he is. You know, there's a lot to Bard, and I think he's pushed to do things that even he can't believe. And he's the only human, really, that Tolkien writes about as a principal character. So I have felt I had a responsibility to make him relatable and that people can empathize with and follow his journey through the eyes of a human, whereas you can follow the other stories through the eyes of a hobbit or a dwarf. And the reasons that push him to do what he does are, you know, very true, pure things like looking after his kids and protecting them from what ends up being a very scary threat. It was a long time being in New Zealand, and we have the front finale, the one that is going to be the icing on a very well-made cake.
I've been kicking some psychic ass, you know, in the Lord of the Rings. But yes, I mean, Peter keeps saying no one necessarily lives or dies. But yeah, there's a lot of challenges facing her, and you know, obviously, this is the culmination of all the dangerous sort of things that have happened over the last 2 films. It actually felt like time had passed because the first time around, even though I'm a very small part of the films, it was such a huge moment for me working with Peter, who I've so long admired. You know, before Heavenly Creatures, you know, he's right back to his really early work. But then when we stepped back on set, you didn't feel that time had passed at all. It was suddenly people were back in costume, and it was like being in a very, very strange and warm time warp.
You know, one of the great things I felt coming back, I was worried initially because Legolas isn't really mentioned in the Hobbit books, so I got to kind of create a backstory, and what's interesting is it all is kind of nicely tied into a bow that feels like it would go off into the trilogy of Lord of the Rings, and I think that's what is really smart about what Pete, Fran, and Philippa, who have done with the Hobbit. They've really thought about the 6 movies and not just, you know, the Hobbit. I think it's going to be fun for the fans to get to watch all of it like a marathon.
Will you have peace or war?
I will have war. Will you follow me? One last time.